You understand that Satan is the prince of the power of the air. He has a temporary right to rule over the world system. So you have evil on a natural level, you have evil on a human level, moral evil, and then you have evil on a supernatural level with a force of demons who use their powers to seduce and deceive humanity and to fight the purposes of God, and they are primarily involved in the development of false religious systems. They are the purveyors of doctrines of demons. Boy, are they sophisticated. One of the more prominent ones currently is Mormonism, which is making an all-out effort to be accepted as a form of Christianity. You need to understand this. Nothing is more explicitly pagan than Mormonism. It is more like Hinduism than it is like Christianity. Christianity has one God, the Mormons have millions. That should be enough. They believe in millions of gods. They believe they become gods. They believe some God created the God who created the world, and the God who created the world had some kind of spiritual sex with the mother God and produced Jesus. The cleverness of this, putting it in a moral context, a superficially moral context, with a kind of commitment to families and giving it the facade of acceptability, morality, only makes it more deadly. We do not wrestle against what? Flesh and blood. Principalities, powers. There's a structure, there's an order in the demonic world. And then, just to add a fourth, there is one evil that will last forever, and I just call it the evil of hell. The evil of hell. Evil forever, unmitigated, for all the people who are there. The God of the Bible is the true and only living God. He is the God whom Scripture reveals Him to be, because Scripture is His self-revelation. He is the God that Scripture reveals. And Scripture tells us that He is the only God. He is a Trinity, but He is one God in three persons. He is the only God, and He is, according to Scripture, absolutely sovereign. Now, by that I mean He's absolutely in charge of everything. Everything. He controls everything. He created everything out of nothing. He controls everything, and He will consummate everything. He is governing history in every minute detail. There's not one molecule in the universe that's out of line with His purposes. Yes, this earth will be destroyed, but not because the polar ice caps melt and it gets flooded. Every time you see a rainbow, you know that's not going to happen. And Genesis 8:22 says, as long as the earth remains, there will be seed time and harvest, day and night, morning and evening. And the way it's all going to come to an end is when God determines to uncreate it in an atomic implosion. He is in control of everything. The earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof. Process theology. Have you heard of that? You're better off if you haven't, truthfully. Here's what process theology says. God is in process. He's developing. And the more stuff that goes on, the more information He gets, the better He becomes at dealing with it. Really. That's process theology. God is getting better at doing His God work. So, and nothing teaches like experience, right? He's a deity in process. He's becoming what He is not yet, but will be in the end what He should be. We also meet another little group of theologians in this category of limited knowledge, and they are known as the Openness Group. And they simply say this, it's another form of the same thing: God doesn't know the future. God can't know the future because the future can't be known because it hasn't happened. God does not know the future. Do you understand all the machinations you have to go through to write a book to make that convincing argument using the Bible? But they do. God, the newly designed God, has a huge limitation. He does not know what hasn't happened. So everything God does is a reaction. And I just want to say, well, then how do you explain Psalm 22, which starts out, my God, why have you forsaken me? Because Jesus said that on the cross. And Psalm 22 gives details of the cross, explicit details of the cross. And that's just one important passage to bring up. But the idea is that God is reacting, and He feels so bad about the way things worked out. Well, do you mean then that the crucifixion of Jesus Christ was a surprise? He was hanging in there on Thursday night thinking, hey, I don't know how this is going to go. It's not Friday yet? Really? Really? And then when Christ did get on the cross, God quickly came up with this great idea. As long as He's going to die anyway, I might as well make Him a substitute for sinners. What a great concept. Unfortunately, that entire concept was revealed in Isaiah 53 in explicit detail. And that's the ultimate blasphemy. You talk about violating the commandments. You're taking the name of the Lord your God in vain when you create a God of your own making and call Him the God of Scripture. It's an idol.
Non-Christian religions and cultic structures in the United States that are constantly attacking Christianity. Why do we not respond to them? Why don't we train the young people? Why don't we make a defense of the gospel in our day? And the reason is because we're afraid we're going to get people mad at us. They're not going to like us anymore. They're not going to support our work. And then we're going to get turned off.
But do you think there's a better way to do it? Because, like, if you came on all the time, say these networks came on and they were always blasting other religions.
I'm not suggesting that.
Instead of maybe teaching them, do you think it would help to, like, teach them while they were, if you just tell somebody, hey, you know, this is
suggesting, you're right, I'm suggesting balance.
Right.
I'm suggesting that instead of being all over on the evangelism side and the teaching of the Christian life, we teach also the defense of Christianity. How you stand up for your faith. Now, what happened to Peter? Chewing away in 2 Peter on the people that are pushing the truth into the background.
Sure.
What about Paul? The people who suppress the truth in unrighteousness. What is censorship but the suppression of truth? If you can't speak, you're violating the First Amendment of the Constitution. I'm not attacking the cults. I spent 35 years of my life bringing people out of cults to Jesus Christ.
Which is a great ministry. Yeah. Fantastic ministry.
I'm not going to attack them.
Yeah.
I love them. I love them.
But you're going to show where they're in error.
But if I don't show where they're in error,
then you're wrong.
If the I'm wrong. And if the trump uncertain sound, says Paul, then how will you prepare yourself for battle? You see, the methodology and the philosophy governing the Christians today in many areas is there is no battle. The only battle you've got is the battle that you don't have enough faith. Or the only battle you've got is you haven't got a new Mercedes, or you're not healthy enough. These are the battles they're fighting. Or whether Jesus came after the tribulation, before it, or in the middle of it. They're majoring in the minors, and they're forgetting that if you don't defend the gospel, you're disobeying Christ.